Hello, my name is Linda Keane and I'm General Manager of ICDL Europe. I've been involved with ICDL since 2006, more recently as General Manager of ICDL Ireland, where I live, and now as General Manager of ICDL Europe, where I support our national operators to deliver ICDL and oversee direct operations of ICDL in 12 European countries. I'd like to thank the team behind today's event for the opportunity to speak to you about ICDL, how it remains ever relevant and needed to address the digital skills challenges of today, and share a little bit of ICDL around the world. In case you don't know, or as a reminder, ICDL is a global operation, a social enterprise dedicated to raising digital skills standards in the workforce, in education and in society. The headquarters of ICDL Foundation is in Dublin. ICDL Europe's office is in Brussels, and there are other regional offices in Panama, in Rwanda and in Singapore. In the mid-90s, when ICDL was starting, the world experienced a period of rapid technological transformation as personal computers appeared in our workplaces and in our homes for the first time. ECDL was launched in 1997 as a 7-module certification course to upskill Europeans in the use of a personal computer and common office applications of that time. 25 years on from 1997, and we're experiencing another phase of rapid digital transformation, accelerated in no small part by the COVID pandemic. As consumers, we have moved even further towards online channels, whether that's in health, remote working, finance, or lifestyle, and businesses and governments have responded. This chart just provides an indication of that move to digital. Commentators in various studies all suggest that the current workforce will transition to new or dramatically altered jobs in the next 10 years. This graphic shows the jobs that may decrease in the coming years and other jobs that will increase in popularity in the coming years. You'll see STEM and health professionals there at the top, and you'll see office support there at the bottom, jobs that will decrease in the coming years. This doesn't mean that we won't use office productivity tools anymore. It means that there won't be a job dedicated to this. Everybody will have to use productivity tools, digital tools in their job, whatever that job may be. So everybody's job is going to change, and most will have to adapt within their role to greater use of technology. That might be all fine if it wasn't for the digital skills gaps that have emerged, in particular over the last 2 years, as everyone has struggled to cope with the disruption caused by COVID. Digital skills gaps have become evident amongst our students, our teachers, workers, and management at every level. And they further emphasize the critical need for stronger digital skills in both the current workforce and the future workforce. ICDL are responding to this challenge with a range of modules grouped together into programs that address the needs of different sectors of society. You have them listed here. So ICDL Workforce covers the productivity tools that are essential for the world of work. ICDL Professional includes more advanced use of business applications and some of the creative modules like web editing and image editing, and also higher skills modules such as data analytics. ICDL Insights then gives candidates a conceptual understanding of trending technology, such as artificial intelligence and cloud computing. And there's very nice e-learning to accompany these modules. I know in Ireland they are offered to everyone from school students in secondary and vocational education to the employed, the unemployed, all as a completely self-directed learning experience. But then in other countries, they are being pitched to university students, for example, in a blended learning format. So there's lots of options with the Insights modules. ICDL Digital Student then has modules designed specifically for young students, such as robotics. In Europe, robotics is already taught in the Czech Republic, and I know that Romania and the UK, for example, are preparing to launch the module once schools reopen in September. Finally, digital citizen is for those taking their very first steps with computers and the internet, and is a tutor-led informal style program. So there are up to possibly 30 modules now in the ICDL family, and the newest module to the ICDL range being e-commerce. So e-commerce is a module for individuals or those small businesses, even to support student projects, basically anyone who intends to sell products or services online. And you can imagine that e-commerce would make quite a nice partner for the digital marketing module. Please refer to your country ICDL website for information on these programs and modules, or ask your ICDL account manager if you have any questions. So ICDL has a range of modules that cover the safe, ethical, productive, problem-solving, creative, and collaborative use of digital skills. Basically, the whole scope of what we term digital competence. As centres, think about combining or grouping ICDL modules into profiles that will attract learners. Here are some general examples on screen. You will know your target markets much better. Remember, you don't have to stick with just the workforce programme of modules or the professional programme of modules. You can mix and match modules as required to meet demand. One approach by Europe to tackle the digital skills gap is by supporting the use of micro-credentials. Micro-credentials certify the learning outcomes of short-term learning experiences, for example, a short course or training. They are seen as flexible and targeted, focused on skills and competences that people actually need, and able to reach wider audiences, including disadvantaged groups. The Council of the EU has adopted a recommendation in relation to micro-credentials, which, although not binding, strongly encourages member states to implement micro-credentials for businesses and institutions in order to promote a culture of lifelong learning. Could you say that each ICDL module is a micro-credential? Certainly, it seems to fit the definition and standards that will be developed in the coming years. I mention micro-credentials here today because they are becoming very popular and a new trend. If you see funding opportunities in the near future based on micro-credentials, think of ICDL in this light. It certainly fits the bill. Now let's quickly look at some recent successes from around the world to give you an idea of how ICDL is implemented outside of Europe. In Africa, there's growing government endorsement for ICDL. So in April, ICDL gained accreditation on the Kenya National Qualifications Framework. The accreditation and mapping of ICDL to level 3 indicates the level of confidence that the government has in the quality and relevance of ICDL. In Asia, ICDL is particularly successful in education, particularly the third level sector. For example, the top university in Malaysia is an accredited ICDL test centre. In Temasek Polytechnic, different ICDL modules are studied in different schools, showing how ICDL can support students of all subjects. Just recently, ICDL Asia signed agreements with 2 leading institutes of higher learning. They were witnessed by the Irish Prime Minister, as it happens, in the photograph there, on his recent trade mission to Singapore. One of these institutes will offer ICDL as micro-credentials. There you see micro-credentials being mentioned again. In case you were targeting a university, college, or institute of higher education in your area, I asked ICDL Asia about their strategy. And I think this slide just emphasises that sometimes it's about getting a foothold in an organisation and growing it from there, rather than trying to conquer the entire organisation. So the tactics in red are the ones that have been most successful. And this reminds me a little of the vocational education sector in Ireland. ICDL is not on the Irish National Framework of Qualifications and has no official government endorsement as such. However, decision makers and course designers at middle and lower levels of the vocational education training sector implement ICDL as modules incorporated into longer training courses because they know that it works. The National Digital Explorer is a national competition in Singapore where primary and secondary students compete using the ICDL application modules over 2 competition rounds. So they're effectively showcasing their digital skills and proficiency in office productivity tools to gain prize and recognition. And although it's early days, I know that in Colombia and the Caribbean, governments are looking at ICDL Compass as a tool to potentially carry out large-scale digital skills assessment. If you haven't heard of ICDL Compass, it's an in-application test that assesses a person's skills in a number of areas before providing feedback at individual or organisational level. It can be incorporated into the early stages of a skills development project, for example, or used as a selling tool to convince companies and organisations that they need digital skills training for their employees. So we know that digital skills are needed for practically every job, and ICDL certification should be seen by employers as the trusted mark of digital skills competence. There will always be learners who need to do the workforce modules to gain the fundamental digital skills for employment. But if we know that jobs are changing and people need higher level digital skills, start thinking as test centres about tailored profiles that appeal to learners. Imaginative combinations of ICDL modules to address specific business needs. And every programme of study now has a digital element, whether that's schools using technology for teaching and learning or the topic of study itself. Think of ICDL as being the digital component of any and all courses. Using the micro-credential example, ICDL modules can be dropped into any course at any level in education. My aspiration for ICDL is that it would be the go-to certification of choice wherever there is a need for digital skills training. Of course, that's describing a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world, but that is the message that we need to keep pushing. The COVID pandemic has been a wake-up call to the absolute and accelerated need for digital skills, and we have the solution in ICDL. Your national operator and the team behind today's event is here to support you, so please reach out if you have any questions or ideas about how to provide ICDL to your current and future candidates. And I'm always interested in sharing new and innovative approaches to implementing ICDL with the wider ICDL Europe community. I hope you find inspiration from today and return to your centres with a renewed energy and focus for what we hope will be a more normal autumn semester ahead. But for now, thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you, and I wish you an enjoyable meeting and a good day.